Hello class, it's so good to see you again. Today we are going to be talking about partial products. So I just want to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about in this video. So the first slide is going to be a review of vocabulary to help you remember what you need to know in order to do well and succeed at this new strategy, partial products. And the next couple of slides are going to be the lesson. Then we're going to do a lesson review, what we've talked about, and then we're going to have a written example that I have done for you guys so that you can see what it looks like when you write it down and not just on the computer. And then I have a little game that you guys can play with your parents or your siblings or whoever is around. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is the vocabulary terms for review. So, what does partial mean? Partial is a part of a whole. That means if I had a whole pizza and only got one slice, that's partial, like a part of the pizza. It's partial. And then product, what does that mean? Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So say I had 3 times 4, what does that equal? Well, it equals 12, and 12 would be labeled the product. Digit is any whole number, right? Ones, tens, and hundreds. Can anyone tell me what those are? Those are place values. Awesome. So ones is the first place value, and I gave you what the ones are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 can also be in the ones place. I'm representing no ones, right? And then tens, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So I put 10 to 90 there. And then hundreds, right? So 100, 200, 300, 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all of those in the hundreds. If you have any questions throughout this whole presentation, please write them down and we're going to talk about them in class. So the next, we're going to go into partial products. So the first step, I'm going to tell you 3 steps of how to solve this type of it's multiplication. It's just another method to use to help you solve multiplication problems. So, our example today is 232, a big number, times 2. So what we're going to do is, here, let me move you so you can read the steps. Step 1 is to multiply one digit at a time to get the product of all of those number sentences with separate number sentences, right? So you use the 2 and you multiply it times each place value. So you multiply it by the ones place value. So like I have on the top here, that's 2 times 2. And so that's 2 from the bottom of the multiplication number sentence, and then the 2 from 232. That's the ones place. And then you go to the tens place. Well, how many tens are there? There are 3 tens. So what is that? 3 tens means that's 30. So you do 2 times 30 in that number sentence. Then you go to your third number in 232. And what's that? It's in the hundreds value, and it's a 2. So that means it's 200. Awesome. So 200, you're going to multiply that times 2 as well. And then that's the first step. You've done it. I wrote that you go with the ones, the tens, and then the hundreds. And don't forget to add a 0 when you're representing that tens and hundreds. So see, I didn't just put 3, I put 30 because it's 2 times 30. And then with the 2, I put 2 zeros because it's in 100. All right, let's go step 2. So step 2 is to list all the partial products. So that's all the answers that you got when you multiply the equation. So 2 times 2, I got 4. So I put that on the right side of my number sentence. Just a pointer here, I said that you could solve the multiplication sentence and write the answer on the right side where I have my 4, 60, and 400 right here. Or you can write them equaling on the left side, which is not the way you usually do it. I just know some of you guys might want to skip that step of copying the answer, because if you put this equal sign and a 4, then you're later going to move the 4 to this box right here. So you can do it either way. If you're confused about this, we can talk about it in class. So you solve the multiplication problem. So 2 times 30, that's 60. 2 times 200, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So we're going to add the 100, right? The 2 zeros, so that's 400. Let's go to the next step. So step 3, awesome. This is the last step. What we're going to do is we're going to add our products that we had gotten, the partial products, meaning all of the multiplication answers that we got from our many number sentences. So we're going to add the 4 plus the 60 plus the 400, and we're going to get 464, and that's our answer. So super simple. I made this slide right here, so you can screenshot this if you want to make sure you remember how to do it. It has all the information put into one slide. Awesome. So now I'm going to show you what it looked like when I did it. This is my written example. Right here on the left, it says example from the lesson. That's the one that I wrote it personally on paper. So as you can see, I started with our multiplication problem, and then I did step 1, and I separated it into number sentences, and I put that on the right side of my paper. Not right under my equation, but right to the side of it. And then I had the answers to the multiplication problems, and I moved them over after I solved. And then the last step, so that was step 2, is finding the answer and then moving it over. Step 3 was adding them all together, so I did that here. I wanted to give you an example for further understanding. Sometimes when you multiply the 1 digit on the bottom of the multiplication problem times the 10, you're going to get an answer in the hundreds. It might not always be in the tens. So for example, I gave you 252 times 2. Well, break it down. Step 1, 2 times 2 is 4. Then we're going to go to the tens place. 2 times 50 is 100. See how 100 is in the hundreds, not in the tens? So when I move my answer from the right side of the equation to the left side to add it for my third step, I just added another box so that it could be 100, because we want to make sure we're representing the correct place value. And then the next one was 2 times 200, and that equals 400. Then I added them all together in the third step, and we got our answer. So the last thing that I have for you guys is this fun game you can play. So the directions are really simple, but I'll read them to you. You roll the dice, so you guys need to have dice for this one. You can even download a dice app if you don't have dice at home, but you have a mobile phone or device like an iPad. So you roll the dice, and then you write down the numbers that appear on the dice. So you can use 2 dice, you can use 1, and you want to fill in these spots right here. So this is creating a number. So say I rolled a dice, and I just had 1, and I rolled and I got a 2. Then I would put that here in this line for the hundreds place value. Then I roll again, and I got a 5, and I put the 5 here for the tens value. And then I rolled again, and I got a 2, like our last problem, 252. I put that here in the ones. And then roll one more time to get what number it multiplies by. And then I solve it using the partial products method. I hope you guys had so much fun, and I'm excited to help you out when you guys come back to class and to just learn further about this method. Thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you soon. Enjoy this game.